Another toxin that's pretty ubiquitous in our environment is mold. I recently read that some 2/3 of today's homes and offices, built since the 1970s, have an overgrowth of molds, primarily because there's not enough outside air circulating. And molds can cause serious health problems, as you may well know. Geopathic stress, I want to talk about that for a minute. Maybe you've heard about it but weren't sure what it was. In the past, pretty much everyone was aware that the Earth produced its own energy grid, which has been likened to meridians like in Chinese medicine, the meridians we have. In fact, much of feng shui is built around geopathic stress and how to work with that. You might have heard of ley lines. This refers to just one type of these energy lines which circle the Earth. The great cathedrals, the mosques, the pyramids were all built in alignment or on top of these powerful earth crossings so they could use these lines to help power them and amplify their purposes. Here's the problem. These normally benign lines, these geopathic stress lines, have become quite toxic because the earth has been soaking up, or grounding to be more precise, all of the wireless signals, radio, TV, cell phone, military communications, and utility feeds. Well, these geopathic stress lines can create serious health issues with us also. As you can see from this diagram of a typical home, bedroom, bathrooms, etc., there are grid lines running everywhere. And if your bed or your desk where you're sitting or your living room couch happens to be on top of one of them, it will start to affect your health after a couple of years. Generally it takes about 2 years. And your sleep quality will suffer as well. Contrails or chemtrails? What are they spraying in our skies? Real contrails, or what used to be called jet trails, are made of condensed water vapor. That's why they're called contrails. But water vapor could only last for about 30 seconds, 2 minutes at most as a trail, before it evaporates back into the atmosphere. So what are these jet trails that we've been seeing crisscrossing the skies really made of? Oh, and for those in doubt, I snapped the bottom jet trail picture myself. I was watching the jet overhead when suddenly the jet trail stopped. That's when I took the picture. I knew it had to be spraying something because the jet just kept flying. It didn't crash like the engine stopped. So the jet trail couldn't be coming from its normal engine exhaust. Now, years ago, when chemtrails first started making the news, we heard that the spraying, which included nanoparticles of aluminum and barium, was being carried out to help reflect sunlight out of the atmosphere to help reduce global warming. Now, though, NASA personnel have come forward saying that lithium, along with the other potentially harmful chemicals, is intentionally sprayed into the Earth's ionosphere to help treat people with manic depression or bipolar disorder. Now, come on, no matter how you slice it, you can't just pump drugs into the atmosphere. There's something terribly wrong with this. Okay, moving on, I'll take pharmaceutical drugs for 200, please. What does the number 1,060,000 refer to? It refers to the number of people killed by approved prescription drugs over the last 10 years. And that's properly prescribed drugs which were taken as directed by the physician. Every 19 minutes. It's also worth noting that the number of people killed by vitamins in that same period was 0. But those over-the-counter medications we buy at the pharmacy are safe, or they wouldn't be allowed to sell them, right? Wrong. Recent studies have linked a number of popular products to dementia. Tylenol is safe, right? Wrong. 56,000 emergency room visits every year and some 150 deaths. They've also found that when acetaminophen was prescribed for pain after young children received vaccinations, it often led to the child becoming autistic. That wasn't the case, by the way, when they were prescribed ibuprofen. Hopefully, all of the pediatricians and parents are now aware of this. So how about those NSAID pain relievers? Are they safe? I'm afraid not. NSAIDs can mess with ovulation and progesterone levels after only 10 days of use. Additionally, they can injure the liver and the small intestine, which has been linked to depression, ADHD, and allergies. It also recently came out that overuse of antacids and proton pump inhibitors, such as Prilosec, can have crippling long-term side effects. I don't even have a category for this one. It speaks for itself. And this last category entry may surprise you, or not, considering the number of ghost hunter programs that are on television these days. Spiritual possessions. Ever feel like you're not yourself sometimes? Well, maybe you're not. Not exactly a toxin, but definitely something to consider, and I'm being serious. There are definitely unquiet, as they say, earthbound spirits out there who haven't figured out it's time to go home. And they tend to hang out in hospitals, old pubs, cemeteries, and if you're in great health, your natural energy field will keep them from connecting with you. But if you're sick, or full of grief, or drunk, or doing a lot of drugs, openings in your field can allow them to come on board. The fact is, we're both matter and energy at the same time. So in the world of quantum physics, having your energy field affected by another being's energy field is simply business as usual, regardless of whether it's a living person or a disembodied spirit. Much of the time, these ghosts on board are pretty harmless, and the worst that might happen is you'll eat too much chocolate. But it's just good to be aware of. I hope you found this video enlightening. And while I didn't touch on the toxins in vaccines, they do unfortunately contain quite a few. So for those who want to be immunized but are rightfully concerned about vaccines, non-toxic and effective homeopathic immunizations are available for the flu and most other diseases. I was actually blown away when I covered a medical conference and saw the statistics on this. There should be 1 or 2 videos here on my YouTube channel about it. The technical term for homeopathic immunization is homeoprophylaxis, or HP, and it's every bit as effective as vaccines and far safer. And get this, HP immunizations are a legally accepted alternative for parents who would prefer not to vaccinate their school-aged children in Germany, India, and other countries. Do you think a country like Germany would approve an alternative to vaccinations if it didn't work? Not a chance. You know the real problem. HP costs almost nothing to produce, it works well, and it can't be patented, so it threatens industry profits. We should have safe choices like Germany has, rather than having vaccinations which the Supreme Court deemed unavoidably unsafe, forced upon our healthcare workers and our children. This is exactly what the Nazis practiced, and is a direct violation of the Nuremberg Code. And by the way, this extreme violation of human rights, which was first passed in California, was begun under the Obama administration. Now, I'm not making a political statement here, just pointing out the facts. Lastly, if you're near the Washington, D.C. area, National Integrated Health Associates, a medical practice I work with, has some great programs to help people detoxify and cleanse their bodies. I'll put a link on that PDF for some information there for you. Also, I highly recommend seeking out an eductor or bioresonance biofeedback practitioner. I have not yet seen a device more capable when it comes to determining which toxins and stressors are affecting your health, and also being able to rebalance those stressors and your whole system. Again, I'll include some information for you in the PDF. Like I said earlier, it's up to us to watch each other's backs. Be healthy and happy, and thanks for watching.